Welcome to the Family Geekery Podcast, a podcast for geeks from a family of geeks. We talk about comics, video games, and anything else geeky. I'm Danny.
I'm Amber.
And I'm Chris.
And what are we talking about today?
The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Hunger Games.
Yeah. A little late, but...
The movie, because I couldn't convince you guys to read an entire book overnight.
No. That wasn't going to happen.
Nope.
Too many words. Yeah, we're a little late on this one. I think the movie came out about a year ago, right?
Yeah, like almost 2 years ago, I think.
Okay. I remember it coming out, but...
I kind of didn't know what it was.
Yeah. But we know what it is now because you've been telling us each week that you've been reading the book.
Yeah, and mostly because the newest Hunger Games prequel, Sunrise on the Reaping, about Haymitch and his games, that just came out like a month ago. So I figured I want to read that, and they're making a movie on that. But, like, I gotta watch the other one and read the other one. So I did that.
Yeah.
And you guys were kind enough to watch the movie with me.
We all did.
Yeah.
Yeah, not with me, but also.
That's right. But before we talk about that...
Geeky Weeks.
We missed it. Yay, it's back.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't try to replace you last time, Danny.
Aw, I appreciate it.
All right, who wants to kick off Geeky Weeks?
I can.
All right, do it.
I saw Thunderbolts again.
Again?
Nice.
Yeah, I wanted to see it again, so I saw it again. And then I also saw Sinners.
Oh.
Ooh, good movie.
I really liked it.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen it.
Catch up.
I know.
Get good. Is that what the kids say today? Get good.
Are
No.
you winning, son?
Do you even lift?
Bro.
Did you like Sinners?
I did. I really liked it.
Good.
It reminded me of like a Jordan Peele type movie.
Oh.
I can see that.
Vampires instead of monsters in the sky.
Monsters on
I
the
think
ground.
that's only one of Jordan Peele's movies.
Yeah.
Nope.
But that's kind of all the geeky things I did.
Cool.
Cool. What about you, Amber?
Well, in the last, 3 days since you and I podcasted, I have been playing Dreamlight Valley, because there's a Cheshire event going on.
Nice.
And I also finished reading Songbirds and Snakes. And by next episode, maybe I will have started and finished Sunrise on the Reaping.
Nice.
That's about it.
All right. So as Amber referred to little BTS action here,
Yeah.
we are
BTS.
recording this
I'm Army.
episode a little earlier than normal, so it hasn't been a full week since our last record, because we're going to be doing some traveling and wanted to stack up some eps before we left.
And that's why I'll
Yeah.
hopefully have finished the other book, because I'll have lots of time to read.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I've been reading also.
Whoa.
I told you I finished that Play Nice book
Yeah.
and immediately started another book, and it's called Control Freak by Cliff Bleszinski, or as he's usually known as, Cliffy B.
Cliffy B.
You ever heard of Cliffy B?
No.
Well, he is a game designer. He's a gamer first, then game designer, and he's worked on a couple tiny little projects like Gears of War.
Oh.
Yeah. And he worked, the way it sounds, he was like employee number 3 at Epic Mega Games. So
Epic Mega Games?
Epic Mega Games, yeah.
Is that what Epic is?
That's what Epic is. Yeah. So the guy who started that, whose name eludes
So
me.
he invented Fortnite?
No. I haven't gotten that far yet, but I don't think he's the one. But
He's not Fortnite?
no. But the guy
Wow.
who started, is it Sweeney? I forget the guy's name.
Sydney Sweeney?
Yeah, Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney invented Fortnite?
Started Epic.
Wow.
And back in the days of shareware, so you would make a game and release chapter 1 for free, and then if you wanted chapter 2 or 3, 4, then you'd have to send in like $5 or something to the game developer, and they'd send you a code to unlock it, or they send you a disc with the other episodes on it.
Oh, kind of like how
Kind of like how
playtime is.
kind of like how free-to-play apps are now, but back in the old days, shareware was pretty popular because you'd download a game off of like America Online or CompuServe or some pre-internet situation. And yeah, so Epic was famous for that, and he said it sounded like, you know, Epic Mega Games sounded like a big company. It was like two dudes, and so he sent them a game that he was working on, and they're like, "Hey, that's pretty cool. Maybe you can do some work for us." So he's kind of like a contractor for him for a while, and then ended up joining the company. But yeah, they've been around for a long time. So back from the 90s is when they started. And he did some pretty cool stuff with them. And I'm up to the release of Gears of War, so that's like early 2000s, 2005, 6 type time frame. So I'll be interested to see what else he does. But it's a really good story. It goes into a lot of personal stuff for him, like a lot of personal stuff. He's very open in the book, and he relates that personal stuff into the games that he makes to give those games feelings of his life. So it's kind of neat. You would have never thought that Gears of War was based on some dude's troubled youth. But it's also, he also puts in some political type statements too. You know, the whole concept of Gears of War. The subtitle being like lubricated by the blood of soldiers or something. It's kind of an anti-war protest type thing. But it's a game about shooting people. But yeah, good book. I'm enjoying that a lot. And other than that, haven't done a whole lot more. So let's talk about this Hunger Games thing. Now, Hunger Games in general, I think I was the first one to read the book.
I think so too.
Yeah, because a friend of mine at work, I was having lunch with him, and his son was visiting from some other state or something. His son was, I don't know, 14, 15 years old. And I don't know how we got on the subject of things that we were reading, but he said, "Oh, you should really check out Hunger Games." And
The kid?
Yeah, the kid was suggesting this young adult book to me, and I guess he was picking up on the fact that I had a 7-year-old reading aptitude. So he was like, "You'd probably like this children's book about children killing children." I was like, "Oh yeah, you hooked me on that." So I think I was probably halfway through it, and I brought the idea back to you guys and to Mom, and
Yeah, I think you and Mom definitely read them before I did.
Okay. But they and I think by the time that we read it, we knew there was going to be a movie. So that always motivates me to read, to finish something, so that we can go see the movie, and then I can put my nose up to the air and say, "Oh, but the book was so much better." Because
But I feel like in Hunger Games, it's one of the few series that statement doesn't really exist.
Yeah, but I've read.
I don't think. Yeah.
I've read 4 books total in my lifetime, so I can't use that statement very often. So when I have the opportunity to say the book was so much better, then I like to do that.
Yeah.
Now I'm hoping, as we talk about this, that you tell me that the book was so much better, because I think I was missing some things that maybe would have been relayed in the book better. So we'll get into that. But yeah, so this is the story of, and he's got a weird first name, but the way that I've perfected pronouncing it, because it's not Cornelius,
No,
the way I've
it's
perfected
not.
it is curly anus.
Almost. It's Coriolanus.
Coriolanus.
Yep, but it's a lot easier to remember curly anus.
It is a little bit easier for that, yeah.
Coriolanus. Either way, it ends in a
his
butt.
His friends call him Corio.
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 I guess you wouldn't call him anus for short.
No. But he's not the only anus in the book / movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, did we know his name in the original series? I'm sure they said it at some point.
I'm sure they've said it,
'Cause
but
they just
I
called
think
him-
it's pretty obvious.
They called him President
in the-
Snow.
Yeah. But it is a book from President Snow's point of view following the 10th Hunger Games, which the movie doesn't say, but the 10th Hunger Games is like erased from history. Like they erase all copies of it. So you can't go back and rewatch it. Like I know Katniss goes back and rewatches old Hunger Games.
Oh, interesting.
You can't watch this one anymore. This one is gonzo.
Because he cheated?
Yeah.
Cheaters.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so basically this is his story arc, if you will.
Mm-hmm. He's 18, a student, graduating from the academy, wanting to go to the university, but he's poor. Which is kind of cool, like, you know, they're like 10 years out of a war, and a lot of his classmates have regained their wealth, because everybody was really struggling during the war. But him and his family, they're still struggling. They don't have their money, but he's put up the guise that he still has his snow lineage and his snow money and everything like that.
It gives a little bit of the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory vibe when he's there with his grandmom or grandmam or whatever.
Grandmam.
Yeah. They're all sharing a bed, sharing one cracker. But he gets all dressed up to go into the Capitol so he can put on his ruse of being wealthy, but people see through it pretty easily. Or at least...
his dad's former best friend.
Yes. And what is his name?
His name is Dean Highbottom. Or as in the book, Coriolanus calls him Dean High as a Kite Bottom. Because he's addicted to morphling. And that's why he thinks that the dean hates him in the book until you learn more about his relationship with his father.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, in the book, is he described physically as... Is he represented as he is described physically in the book?
I feel like the only thing they say is that he has curly hair. And besides that, I think they call him, like, tall and has curly hair.
No, I mean Dean.
Oh, Dean? No.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think they just say that he's always got morphling.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I like the fact that if he wasn't described, then he's getting cast for a part, not for a descriptive part.
I feel like that's one thing that like there's not a lot of physical like appearance descriptions in these books, and I wonder if that's Suzanne Collins kind of knowing that these are probably going to be movies, and that if she sets in stone, because she did that with Katniss, she was like, Katniss has olive skin, Katniss is this, Katniss, and then she gets cast as someone who does not have olive skin and whatever.
Right.
So I feel like she kind of understood and strayed away from that. And going into the next movie, I know that like a lot of the casting isn't like book accurate, but a lot of the characters are from the original trilogy. So you can't have somebody who looks like they do in the book when their character in the movie is so much different than how they looked in the book.
Makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. So I think she played it smart, not really describing anybody in the book.
So 10th Hunger Games, as opposed to Katniss was in the 50th?
74th and 75th.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
lot of time.
Our timelines were wrong.
We were trying to remember what
Haymitch
it was.
is in the 50th.
I remember it was a big milestone.
A
But
quarter quell, yeah.
So
Gotcha.
how is he still
So
alive?
he's like 80 in the in the Hunger Games.
Wow.
Original.
Looks good for 80.
Yeah, but
I think the books implied that he's had a bunch of work done. Because everybody in the Capitol has a bunch of work done.
well, then the announcer dude definitely did.
Well, that's not Caesar Flickerman. That's Lucky Flickerman. That's his like dad or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I remember. I was catching on.
But
to
that
the
casting was
Flickerman.
great.
Yeah, it was good.
He did a great job.
Yeah, Mom and I think Danny too were convinced that it was the same actor.
The same guy. I was like, it's just him without his makeup and blue big hair.
Right. He
Or whatever
did
he
an
had.
awesome job. I'd seen him in other shows before.
Yeah.
Jason Schwartzman.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew who it was, but yeah, he did a perfect job.
I feel like we're talking about everyone except the second main character, Lucy Gray Baird.
Who's that?
What? You're joking, right? You're joking me. You gotta be. The victor of the 10th Hunger Games.
Yeah. So the female District 12 tribute.
Mm-hmm.
Now District 12, we've been there before in other movies.
Yes.
Did she have to have such a, I don't know, country like twang to her voice?
Southern Belle.
That's kind of her thing. Is the Covey. Is like their group of people.
Right.
A
yeah.
lot of
She's not
people-
from a district. She's
Right.
from around. But
She's from around, and she got her family got kind of trapped in there.
but the Covey
when
sounded to
the
me
walls were
like
set.
gypsies. Is that what you got? What kind of vibe you got from the
kind of
Covey?
like nomads, yeah.
They travel from town to town. They wear pleated dresses and they sing.
Mm-hmm. It's funny, they're all named after a color. So there's Lucy Gray, Maud Ivory, there's a character named Tam Amber, Barb Azure. So that's kind of like the entire book. I'm like, oh, these are cool names. And then they flat out say, oh yeah, we're all named after colors. And I'm like, oh my god, you are.
Yeah, so in the book, did they go into more of the Covey than they did in the movie?
Yeah, definitely. There's like a bunch of extras in the movie that, you know, when you go on IMDb, they have names, but they never say the names of the movie because they're just the characters from the book. But yeah, they're all named after colors. They all do the band, and there's all that drama with Billy Tope. Is that his name? So there's all this drama that we don't really get to see in the movie. But they're all part of the band. They're all kind of the way that people kind of perceived it when I see like TikToks and commentary and stuff, people kind of call it like a race thing. And I'm not sure that that's true or like accurate, because it kind of seems like they were like just like a found family, and then they just like all kind of wound up in District 12 when the map was set. So I'm not sure how accurate it is, but there is a character in the Sunrise on the Reaping that is also Covey. I think she's related to Maud Ivory, which is Lucy Gray's cousin. And people think that Katniss is like far descended from the Covey also, like on her dad's side, but we never see her dad because he's dead. And so it's kind of like maybe there's a connection between all three of the books. Maybe there's not. Who knows?
Now the mayor's daughter. Did she set Lucy Gray up?
Yes.
So she set her.
It's kind of implied that way.
It sounded like she
because-
set her up to become
the tribute.
the tribute.
Because she stole. They wanted the same man.
Yeah, they wanted the same man, and Billy Tope chose the mayor's daughter, I guess.
Oh, okay.
That's why she put the snake in her.
Or was it Candy? That's one of my
What?
favorite lines. When they spill the snakes into the arena, and he
Oh.
says it'd be great if it was all just candy, and then it bites someone and they die, and they're like, nope, not candy.
They give Lucky some really good like one-liners in the movie, and he had some good parts in the book too. Like, I'm a little sad that he had a bird in the book, like a little parrot, because he's a like a magician, I guess, but he
Right.
has like this parrot that he talks to in the book, and the parrot just wants none of it. The parrot does not talk to him at all. I think the parrot like starts talking to Dean Highbottom instead, and Lucky just gets so mad at the parrot. But I understand not wanting to hire some animal people for parrots. That's fine. We don't need it.
Got to keep the cost down.
Yeah. When we have rainbow snakes to pay the CGI for, yeah, I understand.
Now, speaking of CGI, I was a little afraid that this movie was going to suffer from the Star Wars phenomenon. Where you had the original trilogy
use like traditional
back in the
effects.
70s, and then the trilogy in the 2000s have much better, not only special effects, but some of the spaceships looked like a lot more modern, despite the fact that it was
old,
a prequel.
Right.
But I think they did a real good job with this.
Yeah.
I love the setting of the Capitol, using old-timey cars instead of any kind of, hovercrafts or anything.
Right.
And
in the book, they did mention hovercrafts as like a way to travel.
okay.
So.
But still, having the city still look like a city that was recovering from war.
Yeah, and the TVs kind of gave like Fallout vibes.
Oh yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah.
Nice big rounded tube screens.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they did a good job with that. So I was happy it didn't suffer from that same phenomenon.
Right.
But it didn't stop them from having some pretty cool effects, though.
Oh yeah.
They still had some good special effects, some good jibbing. People getting killed. Always fun to watch.
I was surprised by the arena. I don't know why I was expecting such like an arena like the 74th or whatever, but it was literally just like a circle.
Yeah,
with a few tunnels.
So the book kind of goes into that also. The first couple of games, they used the arena, and the arena was literally like a sports arena. Like, I don't know if it was for like betting horses or something. They talked about betting horses a little bit, but this was like a big arena for some sort of sporting event before the war. And then it kind of like got dilapidated, closed down a little bit, and they were like, okay, we have this space, let's just use it for this Hunger Games thing that we've got. So the first 10 games, or the first 9 games, are all the same exact thing, where it's all in that room in the bottommost section of it, because during this movie there's quote-unquote rebel bombs that open up the rest of the arena, like the stands and the tunnels. And that's why I'm saying quote-unquote rebel bombs, because I don't think it was rebel bombs. I think it was the Capitol trying to make things more exciting. That's what I think. But it doesn't really ever say. I think the movie in multiple places makes some decisions that the book kind of left ambiguous. Like, Sejanus basically said, oh yeah, the rebels admitted to it, when he's like talking to Coriolanus in the hospital. But that doesn't happen in the book. And there's a few other places where they make some decisions that the book never makes. So.
Wow. Now the character played by Viola Davis,
yes,
Dr. Gall, was
iconic.
Was she in the book as the kind of the brain behind the stuff that was going to go into the arena?
Yeah, so she's the head game maker.
Okay.
So that would be Plutarch Heavensby in the original trilogy.
Right.
So she's that position. And she's like a doctor first. So she kind of like invented the mutations or whatever.
Right.
That like become so popular in later games. So she's always developing these things, and you see that in her lab in the movie. And in the book, she also is like has an office at the school and is always just like poking a rabbit. Like every time Coriolanus gets called into her office, she's just like poking at a rabbit, and that's all they say is like, "Oh, she's got a rabbit on that table." So those are like her babies. That's her passion, is spicing up the games with these snakes that she eventually she gives Coriolanus a kind of preview to in one of their meetups, and then she releases them into the arena, and that's like this is the first time any kind of outside factors have affected the games. So from Snow's proposal, this is the first time we're sending gifts, the first time we're betting on the games, and they go into a little bit more details of that in the book, because he's kind of like tracking how much money he has for Lucy Gray, basically, because every time she's on screen, she's singing, she's getting that money, she's talking to the kids, she's talking to people, she's putting on that charm, and he's racking up cash for her.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And these gifts become weapons of their own.
Right. That was a little odd.
I'll just send her some water that happens to hit every person chasing her.
Okay. So the games, I understand. This is a long book that is formatted into, it felt like a long movie. It was probably almost 3 hours, but still not enough time to, but they changed a lot of things in the book, in the games, particularly. Like, there was like one scene that I told you about at brunch, like last week, about the drones that they cut completely from the movie. And the way that Lucy wins is different in the book also.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, gotta talk about it.
What's that?
Gotta talk about it.
Talk about it.
Gotta explain.
Yeah.
Okay. So these drones, this is the first time they're ever used in the games, right? So they're finicky, and we see that the first time that one of the mentors sends the girl on top of the like cement
Right.
thingy,
Yeah.
sends her water, and then it like cracks. But then eventually they start getting better. Like, they're not that bad, as bad as they seem in the movie. So they're starting to like become more accurate, right? As more people are sending things, and a lot of people are sending things. And in the book, there's no cameras in the tunnels or anything, like we see in the movies. Like, in the book, Coriolanus had no idea where Lucy Gray was unless she came out into the main arena.
Okay.
And that's kind of how it was for everyone. Like, unless somebody's walking around out there, it's pointless to send them things, because then it'll give away their position. So there's a lot of people out and about that are receiving these gifts, and then the tributes from the technology district are taking the drones and hiding them away in the tunnels, and everybody's like, what are they doing with the drones? But they're from the technology district. So one of them dies, but the girl comes out with her drone, and she gets a kill by like like bringing all of the she like sets up her drone as like a beacon sort of thing to offset where the drones are routing to. So instead of giving their gifts to the person they're giving them to, they're routing toward her drone and hitting that person in the face instead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
So it's kind of really cool that one of these characters gets a kill with the drones, and that's fun. Unfortunately, we didn't see it in the movie, because it was one of my favorite scenes in the book. I thought it was hilarious. And then the whole thing with the rabies happens in the book. It's unfortunate that Lucy Gray and her District 12 partner, Jessup, are super close. And in the book, there's like a lot of time before the games start. So he doesn't get bit on the train. He gets bit in the monkey cage. And they have like a couple of weeks before the games start. So he's getting progressively sicker and sicker throughout the book. And then this was one thing that was like, they're giving Snow a lot of credit here, because Snow, it make him seem, like, really greedy, where he's like, wait, rabies, hydrophobia, send him water right now. But in the book, it was the girl mentor for Jessup who was like, I'm going to send him every water I have because he's going to die. So I'm going to send him all the water. If he doesn't win, I want Lucy Gray to win. And then I'm going to keep sending all my stuff even after he dies so that Lucy Gray has all of this and you can save your money. So I feel like they take away her little hero moment, which sucks.
Because he was basically begging her in the movie.
Yeah,
like,
he's
send
like,
water, send
do
water.
this now.
Your tribute's dead. Send water.
Like, I know the book is basically from Coriolanus' point of view, but the movie, I think, makes him a little more villainous than the book does. But then again, in the book, he's like, Lucy Gray belongs to me. My Lucy Gray, my girl, my tribute, my Lucy Gray. So it's like, he's a little out there in the book. But they kind of portray him poorly in the movie a little bit more, I feel. But then in the movie, Reaper, who's the guy that piles up the bodies and puts the flag across them, he gets rabies from Jessup. And so in the he's one of the strongest, he's probably the strongest tribute.
Right.
He makes 0 kills. All he's doing is walking around, sitting in the stands. He's just like he's has rabies, so he's a little crazy and doesn't want to deal with people. So in the book, Lucy Gray poisons the girl that she poisons, like in the movie Dill. Unfortunate, rip Dill. But she also kills Reaper by poisoning the only pool of water that he's drinking out of because it rains. And he's like, I can trust the rainwater more than I can trust the capital water. So she poisons that, he drinks from that, and he dies. Instead of... He did kind of have a heroic moment in the snakes. He's the one, he gets covered by the snakes, and he yells whatever he yells. And then... So this, like, the snakes are not how Lucy wins. Like, the snakes come, Lucy sings to them, she's like, why do they like me? She pockets one, and then this other guy attacks her, and she kills him with the snake. And then she kills Reaper, and that's how she wins. She doesn't win by surviving the snakes. Like, that's not the last thing that happens in the games. Yeah. So I thought it was a little weird that they did that, but... it made for some pretty heroic moments, I guess. Yeah.
Because in the movie, she wins by barely intentionally killing anyone.
Yeah.
Like, she accidentally kills Dill with the water.
Yeah.
And I forget if she kills anyone else, but...
No. In the movie, all she kills is Dill. In the book, she has 3 kills. And she owns them. Like, she regrets them, of course, but... She owns her kills.
I think it makes it more tragic if her only kill was the one that she regrets the most.
Yeah. So this whole movie is kind of... I was calling it Lucy Gray propaganda. I mean, I like Lucy Gray. I think she's a great character. But they make a lot of decisions about her that the book doesn't. Like, she's like, oh, she's not a killer. She accidentally killed Dill. Like, no. Yes, one of her kills in the book was self-defense, and the other was, I don't know, a way to survive. But, yeah. I don't know. I thought it was weird that she got out of the Hunger Games only killing one person.
I really liked, because in the movie, the last person she's up against is, like, the lead girl
Coral.
of, the lead, like, killer
District
group
4,
girl.
yeah.
And I liked her death because I think in the movie she says something like, no, like, I did this all for nothing.
Yeah.
So I thought that was sad because she's like, I
She
killed
kills
everyone for
everyone.
no, like, nothing. So it's like either like, I wanted to win, or like she does have a little bit of regret. Like, she did, like, if she knew she was gonna die, like, she didn't have to kill all those people. But
yeah,
I thought it was a little... It was little character showing moment.
Yeah, in the book, Coral is kind of just like a monster.
Coral.
Yeah.
But there's no microphones. There's like only one microphone in the arena. So there's a lot of conversations that happen between the tributes inside the games that we're unaware of. Yeah.
Now, explain to me this. There's something early in the movie I didn't understand.
Okay.
All of the rich kids, if you will, the mentors as we know them, they're all gathering to talk about the games.
Yeah.
And they seem surprised by the fact that they were going to be mentors. What did they think they were going to be?
Graduating.
What does that mean?
So they're in their... They cut a couple of corners, which makes sense. In the book, there's like a prize. It's not the Plinth prize. Plinth, named after Sejanus's dad. Sejanus is a guy who came from District 2, moved to the capital because his dad was so rich, he was able to move. And so he hates the capital. He's a district boy, but he lives in the capital, and he is like... He's a rebel. So in the book, every year, the like top student gets a prize, basically a scholarship to go to the university, which Coriolanus needs because his family has no money, and he wants to live up to the fame and fortune that his family legacy is. In the movie, it's not until like Sejanus's tribute is dead that his dad comes out and says, I'm going to give a Plinth prize to the mentor of the winner of the Hunger Games. So that's when Coriolanus is kind of like, now I need to like lock in. I need Lucy Gray to win so that I can get this money and go to university.
Gotcha.
So they just kind of combined the two and made it seem like the Plinth always gave out the money. But they got really excited about this Plinth prize of the kid that they don't even like, which was a little silly because they kind of all hate Sejanus.
Right.
Yeah. I want to know how they got from capital kids being mentors to when Katniss is in the games, the previous winners are the mentors.
So basically they said, having students be mentors was a mistake. We're not doing that again. That's literally like after this whole thing with Coriolanus and all the... Because multiple students died. There was the girl who got killed by her tribute, the guy who died in the bombing, and there might have been another. Well, poor Clemmy with the snakes. I guess she dies in the movie. She doesn't die in the book.
She's trying to take credit.
She comes back, and then she's so rude to Coriolanus, and then they, like, mend their friendship, and it's great. She has, like, these little snake scales that she's like, Coriolanus, you didn't visit me. Where are my parents? She was funny. I liked her. They just kind of threw her away. She's like, oh, she got bit by snakes. Who knows if she's alive or dead? Thanks, Dr. Gall. But yeah, Dr. Gall basically said, yeah, we're not going to use students again. It's too dangerous for them.
What do they know about the Hunger Games?
Right.
Well, a whole lot. A whole lot now after Coriolanus Snow basically changes the games forever. But because he's the one that pitches the betting and the gifts.
Mm-hmm. So were they the first mentors?
Yeah, they were the first mentors. Because they realized that, and they realize this more after Snow comes back from 12, that people aren't watching the games. The people in the districts, like, nobody has a working television in District 12. So, and then the people in the capital, maybe they're watching, but they don't really care about it. And they're like, we can make money off of this, and this must be how they finance the luxury that we see as the capital in the original Hunger Games. But they see this and they realize, hey, we can make some money off of this. We can make this more interesting. Like, oh, it's like when back before the war, when people bet on horses, we can bet on children.
Yeah.
And Snow's really smart. He's like, I don't have any money to send to Lucy Gray. So he says, like, the mentor and the immediate family of the mentor cannot send gifts to their tribute, which is kind of cool. So he's really smart.
Leveled the playing ground for him.
Yeah. But then once he comes back from 12, he's like, hey, nobody's watching this out here. Nobody knew who Lucy Gray was. Like, they thought she was going to die. That's all they knew. She came back. They don't know what happened to her. Nobody cares.
Right.
Let's make this thing. Let's find a way to make it, like, law, like, necessity to watch it. So... And I think that's what we see in the original Hunger Games. I think it just, like, plays nonstop on the TV or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotta get those eyeballs.
Yeah,
That's where the money comes from.
it's their punishment. Like, it doesn't mean anything to them if all they know of the punishment is the reaping.
Right.
And maybe the kid comes back, maybe they don't.
Now, how does the book leave her at the end?
This is another difference that I feel like it was very ambiguous in the book. In the book, they go to the cabin because it's raining outside. And, and they're in love, they're running away together. Coriolanus thinks he's like one day away from being caught and hung for murder. So he thinks he's like the best solution. He has to dig for worms in the like dirt. He hates it. He hates the fishing. He hates being outside. Whatever. Lucy Gray loves it. That's a little oopsie. Like, oh no, trouble in paradise. They go into this cabin by the lake, and he finds the bag of guns. Same thing that happens in the movie. And then he's like, wait a second. This is my murder weapon. They don't know what I did. They'll never know what I did if I get rid of this. And I don't think he really says anything. I think he just says, like, hey, this is mine. And Lucy Gray says what she says. She doesn't really break it down like, oh, if we get rid of it, then you have no reason to stay. You could just go back. And then he's like, oh, but I have you as a loose end. And she's like, what? That doesn't happen in the book.
She's in the movie. She's the one that said it. She
right.
said, except for me. And he's like, why would I have to worry about you?
You won't say anything.
Right.
Right. In the book, he's like so in his head at this point. Like once he sees the guns, he's like, what is going to happen? So she says what she says. She's like, I'm gonna go find the Katniss. It's a difference what 2 weeks will make for the growing of the root or whatever. And he's like, oh, it's not raining. Oh, I'm not made of sugar. And that was a cute thing that they added from the book to the movie. And then she leaves. And then he's like, wait, she left? What do you mean she left? And he goes out there with the gun. And he kind of is like, wait, I shouldn't be carrying this gun. Like, she'll feel threatened by me. I don't want to go put back the gun. I want to find Lucy Gray. I'll sling the gun on my back so I'm less threatening, but I still have the gun. I'm not wasting any time. Like, he's spiraling. He's like, I need to find Lucy Gray. He's like screaming. And then he sees the scarf. He gets bit by the snake. And then he loses it. And he just starts shooting in a circle. You don't see, like, it doesn't say that he hit her or shot her or anything. He has no idea. He just kind of, like, shoots around him, and then he starts shooting at the birds.
Right.
And then he's like, well, I don't know if the snake is poisonous. She set me up. I need to go back to the base, or I need to, like, get rid of this gun, and then I need to go back to the base and fix my arm. So he doesn't know, and then nobody knows if she survives or not. Yeah. So it's, like, pretty similar, but, like, I feel like they make Lucy Gray out to know and like, they confirm that she's caught on to his regrets, I guess, and his like double like
delirium.
yeah. In the book, it's so unclear because Snow is so delirious. Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't really talk about how Lucy Gray is talking. He just kind of says, this is what she says. And then he's like spiraling in his like, it's not exactly first person, but it's like third person for him. So the narrator is just spiraling.
Yeah, there was a couple places in the overall story of the movie where I thought, okay, well, here's the pivot, right, from good kid to taking the road towards what we know as President
Right.
Snow. And
Because
then
you start off and it's like, how does this guy become President Snow?
Yeah.
right, and you see a couple pivots, and you're like, oh, okay, so this is the thing that turns him, and then he goes back. And then,
Yeah.
and then you see something else, you know, the scene down where he discovers the rebels with the guns or whatever, and, and then, no, we can fall in love and run away together.
Mm-hmm.
And you think, okay, well, this is certainly he's going to turn now, and then it all boils down to him just going crazy in the woods or getting spooked by her in the woods
Yeah.
as being the pivot point towards the very end.
It makes me want to go back and reread the original series because I feel like he's always hated District 12, and now we kind of know why.
Right.
He's got a
Yeah.
little lady somewhere out there, possibly, or a victim.
And,
But
and
it's
maybe
interesting
Katniss reminded him too much of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like Katniss.
Yeah, very
But-
good. I thought it was neat that the other movies that we're so familiar with, you know, the whole story is the arena and
Right.
leads up to some victory, and then you get your release there. Okay, oh good, you know, our protagonist was victorious, and then in the second movie, oh good, our protagonists were victorious. And in
Right.
this one, you see the protagonist is victorious, and then like, oh, there's still an hour and 10 minutes
Yeah.
left in the movie. like, what just happened? But yeah, they could have made it 2 movies, I guess, but you probably
It's
would.
like split up into the 3 parts. Like the movie has part 1, part 2, part 3.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it splits up, and I feel like how they cut the pacing down a little bit. Like I think they made it work.
Yeah, because nobody's going to go
'cause-
to a movie if there's no arena.
Right.
Right. If there's no Hunger Games, no one's going to a Hunger Games movie.
I think they could have like split it up as like all of the arena part and then all of the District 12 part after the arena into maybe a second movie because there's a lot of that we don't see, but a lot of it is because he's like a military soldier. Like it's very repetitive. Like he works for a week and then on Sunday he goes and sees Lucy Gray. He works for a week and then on Sunday he goes and sees Lucy Gray. Like that's like one thing the book gives their romance a lot of time because there's
Oh.
like 2 weeks before the games where they know each other. And then there's like a couple weeks after the games where they know each other.
Right.
And in the book, they kiss before the games. I was like, wait, they didn't kiss. Because they've only known each other for like 3 days.
For like a couple
But in-
hours, it seemed like.
But in the book, they've like had these connections for over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
they
goes
shook-
in for one.
Yeah, I know. I was like, wait, he's not,
He
because
rejected
he's
her.
suspicious of her. And then later, he goes in for the kiss, and she's the hesitant one.
Storytelling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, anything else on this movie
Yeah.
/ book that we
So
can
we
fit
haven't
into
talked-
this episode?
We barely talked about Sejanus, which is kind of sad because he's a cool character. But I wanted to mention the Tigress line. Tigress, his cousin. She says something in the middle of the movie. Like, oh, your father, the one thing I remembered about him, he had hatred in his eyes. And then the last thing she says to him when he's going off to university, he's like, how do I look? She says, you look just like your father.
Oh, yeah.
And he kind of like, he was like, oh. Like,
Yeah, he's like, yeah. And she's like,
She's like, uh-oh.
She's like, oh no, my choreo. But you remember Tigress in the original, right?
No.
Tigress was in Mockingjay Part 2, maybe. When Katniss is in the Capitol, they hunker down with this fashion girl who looks like a tiger. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
That is Tigress.
Is she old?
She's prosthetically affected her face to look like a tiger, so it's hard to say. She's like one of those Capitol people.
She's only 12 in cat years. Yeah, I remember that now.
Mm-hmm.
That's cute.
So she's always, I feel like she in the book, you know, Grand Mam's capital, hate the district. That Lucy Gray, she's not a girl. She hasn't been a girl in years. Hate the districts. Capital. And Tigress is like always the one that's like, she's just a girl, Grand Mam. Like they're people too. Like, oh, choreo, she's probably hungry. So I feel like that's like a good precursor for the Tigress that helps hide Katniss in the Capitol.
Yeah. Cool. Nice little Easter egg.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up there. We'll have to get ready for the next movie/book. Is the book out? Next one?
The book was released a little bit ago, and they're announcing casting right now.
Nice.
So today, we have a couple of cool names are going to be in the book or in the movie. So, McKenna Grace, the blonde girl who's in everything, but she's phenomenal in everything, so it makes sense why she's cast in everything. And also, Maya Hawke is going to be in the movie.
Oh, from Stranger Danger?
Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Which one is that?
She's going to play young Wyrus. So Beady and Wyrus were Wyrus was the one that was like tick-tock. Yep, she's going to play tick-tock.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Good.
So those are some of the biggest names, but a lot of the main characters have been cast, and right now the front runner for Effie is Elle Fanning. So fingers crossed.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You got Jesse Plemons is going to be
Jesse
Plutarch.
Plemons. It's funny, the young actors of Beady and Plutarch are like have played sons of the other characters in other movies.
Oh,
so yeah, I thought that was silly, but that's like really good casting on their part. It's gonna be good.
They cast Haymitch.
They did cast Haymitch. I don't personally know him, which is probably cool. Like he seems like a young kid, so
It's good.
And did you notice one of the characters' last name is Baird?
yes, that's the girl who's Covey. She's Maud Ivory's daughter, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. All right.
Cool.
Let's wrap this up.
I'll give you a summary on the next book when we get back from our travels.
Awesome.
You'll probably hear my commentary while you're driving. Because there were a few moments where I was like, "Oh my god," when reading this one.
Hear little gasps every now and then.
Yeah.
Like something just went down. All right. Well, let us know if you've read this book or seen this movie. Send us an email, podcast@familygeekery.com, or hit us up on our socials.
Yeah.
But we're going to leave it right there. We thank you as always for listening. Go check out YouTube channel. See what's going on there. Check out the socials. And until next time, peace out.
Peace out and geek out.
Thank you for listening to the Family Geekery podcast. For more information, visit www.familygeekery.com. Don't forget to subscribe at your favorite podcast provider. And until next time, peace out and geek out.